Democratic campaign awash in negative headlines after Bernie Sanders supporters, you see them there causing pandemonium at last weekend's Nevada convention. And party chief Debbie Wasserman Schultz called the senator's response unacceptable. The dispute over delegates prompted some Sanders supporters to make death threats against Nevada's Democratic chairwoman, and things really turned ugly.
I just wanted to let you know that I think people like you should be hung in a public execution to show this world that we won't stand for this sort of corruption. You cowardless bitch running off this stage. I hope people find you.
Wow. It's a subject the Vermont senator was not anxious to discuss with the press.
This past weekend was the Nevada convention.
Okay, I think
Your reaction to that?
We're back with the panel. Kelly. In terms of the coverage here, Sanders, who, by the way, has now come out against Debbie Wasserman Schultz and for her primary opponent, he's really been getting hammered by the media over the handling of these threats and scuffles. Is that fair or unfair?
I think that's totally fair. And this took place on Saturday. Now, if this was a Trump rally or if these were Trump supporters, it would be at headline news on Sunday. The Washington Post, in its print edition, didn't even cover this until Wednesday, and then the headline, it was on the 7th page of the paper, and the headline was, Clinton wins Kentucky, Sanders picks up Oregon, and then it had a graph all the way at the bottom, and then there was this little skerfluffle in Nevada. I just think this has totally been underreported, and now the press is reporting it only because there was a formal complaint filed by the Nevada Democratic Party against Sanders. The Harry Reid went on the floor and said that Sanders should apologize, and now it's being covered, but it should have been covered more at the beginning. There's a war going on.
There are differing accounts about how bad the situation was, but what's not in dispute, Joe, is that even some liberal media outlets and writers are turning on Bernie, asking why he's still in the race, asking why he didn't condemn these incidents more forcefully.
Well, I think he should have handled it. I mean, I think it's legitimate to challenge him for not denouncing them. But I do think it's a little overboard when we don't even know who these people who called the chairperson are, whether they're even really Bernie supporters. I mean, so to hold him somehow responsible for it, I think is wrong. But to hold him like, you do want to denounce this stuff, don't you, Bernie? I mean, is legitimate on the press's part.
Right. Now, Sanders has been saying in interviews, he did one again today on CBS, saying that, you know, even if he's behind in pledged delegates after the final primaries and caucuses, he still may not concede. He wants to go to the convention and all of that. So here's the New York Times' front page headline from the other day. Bernie Sanders eyeing convention, willing to harm Hillary Clinton in the home stretch. The subtext seems to me, is he a little crazy?
It's a little theatrical there. I think this is an example of folks erring on the side of trying to make stories where they may not necessarily exist. The reality is Hillary Clinton stayed in 2008 through the beginning of June. There's zero evidence that her staying in that long, her even floating the possibility of assassination did anything to damage Obama in the fall.
But yeah, Bernie is trying to harm Hillary because he's trying to win the nomination. He may not have much of a chance.
He's running. That's how campaigns work. You try to win, you know?
And there's no indication that he's going to get out in June like Hillary did. He said he's going to take it all the way to the convention, and you know what? There's 4 petitions that have been filed in Philadelphia, all of them for Bernie Sanders supporters for protests and demonstrations come July. That's going to damage her in the long run.
Willing to harm Hillary Clinton in the home stretch. All right.